All right, so in today's video, I'm going to be talking about 3 reasons why you, yes you, should not, I repeat, you should not be selling your freight brokerage services based on price. And I know it sounds so attractive to sell based on your price, because who wouldn't be attracted to steep discounts? Of course, shippers want to get their loads moved from point A to point B, and they want to do it at a very good discount, right? But in this video today, we're going to talk about exactly why you shouldn't be selling on price and what you should be selling your service on instead. So come on inside, sit back, relax, and let's get down into the business. All right, so now before the horse gets too far out of the barn, I want to make sure that you and I are on the same sheet of music and you understand where it is that I'm coming from. I know it might be a little bit odd that I'm telling you not to sell your service based on price when it seems as if everybody, all shippers want the great price, right? But the question is it good for you, right? Is it going to be good for you moving forward? And I just don't think that it's going to work out like you think it is. I've seen a lot of people start off selling services, freight brokerage services based on price, and it usually turns out in a bad way. So I don't want you to end up in that position. So walk with me to the end of this video, and I'm going to try and lay it out so that you understand the importance of not going in that direction when you first get started. All right, so number one, first and foremost, the reason why you should not sell your service based on price is because it's probably not going to work out for you. It's going to start off pretty good for the shipper. They're going to see you as the discount broker. So anytime they want steep discounts, they're going to say, okay, let's call up Brandon, or let's shoot Brandon an email and see if he can give us a price on this load. And when you send over your price and it's discounted with that steep discount, you're going to get all of those loads and you're going to get a chance to move loads abundantly. But the question is, are you making money on the loads that you're steeply discounting? Probably not. Most of us, when we give steep discounts, guess what happens? You have to go to the trucker at a lower number in order for you to make a profit. And that gets into a bidding war, or a negotiation war, I should say. And the truckers are most likely not going to accept the price that you have, especially if it's too low. And you are going to have to give up your profit in order to make the load work. So you start off putting yourself in a situation where you label yourself as the cheap broker. And anytime you do that, that's what shippers look to you as, is for cheap movement. So we'll go to you to get loads moved for a cheap price. So it starts out where it's working for the shipper because they're able to get loads moved at a discount, but it's not going to work for you because you're not going to make any money. And we are in this business to make money, not to give deep discounts, not to just move loads, but to make money. So don't start yourself off without giving competitive pricing. And when you give competitive pricing with a solid service, then you can make money. And you have to make money in order to win in this business. So number 2, the second reason why you shouldn't sell your services based on cheap or discounted pricing is because shippers work with freight brokers for a specific reason. They've seen something in you to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to give this person this load. And if you've already identified yourself as being the broker that they'll be able to get cheap prices out of, they're going to come to you for the cheap price. But when you don't give them the cheap price, what they're going to do is take that load to another broker, and you're not going to get an opportunity to move it. And I know you've said, hey, I've moved all of these loads. I've built some confidence with the shipper now. So now they're going to give me other loads. Yes, they probably would give you other opportunities to move loads as long as your prices are still in the cheap neighborhood, because that's what you've identified yourself as. That's what they see as value in you, is that you're going to always have the very good prices. And unfortunately, when you don't have those good prices, they're going to take that load somewhere else and you're going to miss out. So now you're not getting loads and you're not making money. So you've put yourself in a hole. So don't start out with those cheap prices. Start out with competitive pricing, and you'll find yourself in a much better position. Now, number 3, here's what's going to happen most times when you have deeply discounted pricing. You're not going to be able to get the load moved. You're going to go to carriers, whether that's on a load board or within your own network. And when you go with those numbers, they're going to tell you that they're not going to be able to move the load for those numbers. Now you have a load that you cannot move. And when we have loads that we can't move, guess what ends up happening? You have to give that load back to the shipper. And now the shipper is looking at you like you are not competent. You don't know what it is that you're doing because you've given them a price, and now you have to go back and tell them that the price is too low, or you might need additional money in the load. And to me, professional freight brokers, competent freight brokers, don't go back to shippers and change prices, because the first price should have been a price that worked. If you know what you're doing, if you know how to price loads, you give the price that's going to work the first time. And when you don't do that, you lose confidence with your shipper. And although you had low prices, they know now that when you give prices, they can't depend on you to move a load at that price. So that's going to cause problems. Moving loads is going to become a problem when you price loads at bottom line numbers. Now, I've given you 3 reasons why you shouldn't sell your service based on price. There will be times where you're able to give discounts, but you shouldn't be leading with discounts. You shouldn't be leading with saying, hey, we're going to give you a great price. Because number one, you probably don't have the tools just yet. You don't have the time in the business to understand how you can give great pricing in lanes. And once you learn that, then you can start giving better pricing. For example, if you're a direct to LTL carriers, you can give LTL pricing. If you have full truckloads or full truckload carriers in certain areas that's been calling you and they need to get out of certain areas, then you're going to be able to go to them at lower prices, not bottom line prices, not dirt cheap prices, but sometimes you're going to be able to get better pricing in those lanes, and you can give your customers discounts in those lanes. All I'm saying is don't lead off selling your service based on price. But now here's what you should be selling your service on instead. You should be selling your service based on the value that your service brings to the shipper. You should be selling your service based on your ability to be able to solve your shipper's problems. Shippers have problems all the time, all types of problems, logistical problems. They have problems moving freight at the last minute. You have truck capacity and you're able to move freight at the last minute. Sell your service on the value that you can bring to your shipper, the problems that you can help them solve, not price. That's what I wanted to share with you today. I certainly hope this information has been helpful. If you want to learn more about the freight broker business, I'll leave a link in the description. It's my 5-video series, and it's titled How the Load Movement Process Works. It gives you a good look into the business and shows you exactly how it works before you come into it. And then if you're interested in learning more about how we go out and find shippers, find the valuable shippers that we work with on a day in and day out basis, I'll leave you a free link right here. So until the next time, I wish you the very best in your life and business. See you at the top, because the bottom is much too crowded.